Stephen Kenneth Destiny Bennell II, or as you may know him as Destiny or Destinky. Destiny has been embroiled once again in a little bit of a what we call in the business cringe. He has been delivering a take. He's been delivering take after take after take on Twitter recently, which has gotten the whole lefty Twitter space up in arms and absolutely thrown into what only can be described as a tizzy. So, what is it? Well, it is Destiny commenting on trans people again, which already makes some people's ears perk up. They're like, oh no, what's going on here? But this time, I think this one is actually pretty bad. If I'm not going to lie to you, I think it's pretty bad. Someone said this, mind you, let me give you a little bit of context, okay? Someone said this is a response to someone posting some Tinder logs they had with someone that they got to know on Tinder. Okay, there's a trans woman who got to know, I believe, a cis man on Tinder, and they're either dating or friends or something. I don't know. In the logs, the trans woman said, "Good evening, I am trans," or something to that effect, while in the course of talking to this dude. Okay, in the course of talking to this dude, like, "Good evening, I am trans." Just laying it all out there. All right, and then they posted once again someone being like, as it should be, trans people need to disclose such information, or else it'll be complete trickery, and it'll be evil if they do not disclose to me the dimensions of penis or vulva or something. Okay, and then they were all having a good time about how this person's shitty, and then this person chimed in and quoted and said, "Trans people should disclose that they're trans," and they said no. And that's where Destiny was like, "Ooh, baby, it's my turn." And he said, "If you mislead someone relating to sexual organs and they discover it as you're engaging in sexual activities, that's tantamount to rape." I responded to this. That's not what that was. I responded to this and I said, this is really weird because we're talking about in the context of being trans. Okay. So to say mislead someone relating to your sexual organs, this would have to mean specifically that unless you straight up lied about your sexual organs, about your genitalia, unless you specifically you're asked, do you have pee-pee? And you go, yes, indeed, fat, girthy pee-pee, and then they meet up and there's no pee-pee, you've lied and you've now tricked someone, okay? And that's wrong. You shouldn't be tricking people into having sex with you, especially on really important matters like your sexual organs, which may be doing some amount of work while having sex. Now, you shouldn't be doing that, okay? But to make this point, where nobody was talking about deceiving someone, lying about being trans or not being trans, or lying about your sexual organs, okay? We were just talking about being trans. So that would have to mean, in this context, misleading someone would have to mean specifically that being trans is inherently a deceitful thing to do. You are deceiving someone. You are lying to people by saying that you are trans. Because that would mean that you would have a different genitalia. I disagree with here? No, you would have to be misleading people. Being trans would have to be misleading for this to make any sense. If it's specifically about your sexual organs, and you would assume, and he's trying to say that women would not, or let's be a little bit more charitable, would not generally have a penis, let's say. This would have to mean that this would be deceiving. So where would the misleading, where would the deceit come in if it's not just being trans? To me, how I read this would have to be that being trans in itself would have to be a form of deception, a form of misleading, for you to call this misleading when nobody talked about specifically voicing something deceitful to your potential sexual partner. Okay. And then they discover it during sexual activities. That's tantamount to rape. You literally rape them, or you attempted to rape them while deceiving them by being trans. Now, This is an extremely hot take. And then afterwards, in the original take, when he wanted to go over it, complete shift. 180, complete shift what was happening. Misleading equals failing to disclose. I solved it. Time to go home. But Destiny, Scrub King, he tried to save this. Scrub King tried his very best with every ounce of strength in his body. He tried to pull everyone out of this absolute hole that we were left in after that tweet. Okay? But he said no. He was throwing us all back in. Absolutely wrong. If you present as female and have a penis, or present as male and have a vagina, you should absolutely disclose this before sexual activities begin. Now, this is once again completely different. This is completely different than what he said before. Misleading someone and failing to disclose are two different things. Now, on certain things, it can be pretty bad. If you fail to disclose to someone that you have like an STD, that can be extremely harmful to them. Okay? You having a vagina is not harmful to someone else. They're not hurt by doing that. He says wrong, then goes on to essentially repeat Scrub King's tweet. Yes, this is basically what the discourse has been like for the last 3 days. Yes, this is basically it. He went on to like double and then triple and quadruple down and then shift back and forth on like what this necessarily means. He had some trans people on, and it didn't necessarily go too well. We don't have to go over those clips, but I do think this is cringe. Okay, I think that you should have discussions with people. I think that you should absolutely have discussions with people about these sorts of things. But calling this tantamount to rape, or saying that they're in some way like coerced to still having sex with you or something in that situation, I think is pretty ridiculous. Okay, here, let's say this. Let's say this. I don't want to go on the, anyone could say no at any time for whatever reason if you're not literally being forced down. Obviously, coercion exists. That's real. Okay, like you blocking a door, or not giving someone like blocking the door with your body, or verbally not giving someone an out, or trying to verbally or like physically coerce them into doing something with you as well. That's really bad. But just being there and having something that they don't like about you is inherently coercive. I think this makes literally no sense. Making out doesn't involve genitals. I don't think it involves genitals usually. Kissing it usually doesn't. Okay. Personally, here's my thing. All right. If this is considered rape, what else would be? Imagine if I was talking to someone online, right? And I don't have a camera. I'm not using my camera or anything, and they don't know that I'm black. All right. And let's say we're gonna do it. I wouldn't do this now because I'm a streamer and I know like the likelihood of someone recording me while doing something like this goes up like exponentially, and I don't want to do it. But let's say we hop into a spicy, we're reverting the clock back to 2015. Okay. We're going to go into a spicy Skype call where we both show each other our genitals. All right. Or something like that. Or we meet up in real life, one of the two. And then she goes, wait a second, you're black and you didn't tell me? What the fuck? And she's like super racist actually, but she never knew that I was black. Let's say like over call, I didn't sound black. Some people say I don't sound black. Let's say I didn't sound black. So I'm not, oh my gosh, holy shit, you're black. And did I try and rape her? Oh my gosh. Is that tantamount to rape? My BF sounds white. Some people say I sound white. So yeah, is that tantamount to rape? Oh my gosh. You have a you had like your lower intestine removed and you have like a colostomy bag. You don't disclose that necessarily. Is that tantamount to rape? Comedian dude who would just show women his dick without doing a rape. This is more similar. What? In no sexual context whatsoever, period. You're saying someone walking into you're like chilling, doing your makeup in the mirror, and someone walks up and just whips out their dick. You're saying that is equal. That's on the same level. Like flashing in public or something along those lines. That's on the same level as you two consensually agreeing to have sex, and then you just you disliking their genitalia? Really? Some of these DGG assholes were trying to tell me that it's a violation of informed consent, which no one uses in sexual activities between adults. This must be rape. Like wait, are they talking about like a physical contract? Wait, so what is and is not should have to be 100% disclosed 24/7. Yeah, what if someone, let's say like Logic, I don't know what like percent black Logic is, but let's say Logic's like 50% black or something, but he presents as all white. Does Logic have to in every single conversation say that he's actually half black or something before he can have sex with someone, or else that'd be like a form of rape? I think that's just kind of ridiculous. And on this note, I do think that you have the complete ethical. I personally think Logic's 100% white based on his music. Listen, he's depriving that black part a little bit. It's okay. I think it's within your ethical right to not have sex with someone that you don't want to have sex with. I absolutely believe that. I don't think it's wrong for you to be like, hey, for you to like get sexy with someone, and then you like touch near their like inner thigh, and then you're like, no pee-pee. And you go, you have no dick? And they go, no, I don't. And you go, well, I was really looking for dick, but I mean, I appreciate you. I don't really want to go any further. I think that's a very normal thing to do. I've done it before. I've had other people do that for me before. They realize that my dick is actually just way too big. It's just so massive that they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that you had like a cantaloupe dick. That's crazy. So yeah, there's nothing that you can really do about that. That's perfectly valid. That's fine. I think we also should make sure that we understand that even though we can't just chalk this up as like just preferences, okay? You know, like just preferences, right? You can be like, yeah, that's not my preference. And that's fine to just say that's not your preference. That's okay. But we should do a little bit of introspection to understand like where those preferences come from and if they have any like negative like roots in your head. Okay, because that could also happen as well, that you could be like, yeah, I'm just not into like girl dick, and you know that can be fine, that no one's forcing you to suck anyone's dick that you don't want to. That's fine. Okay, that's cool. But if that belief that you just describe as just your preference is actually rooted in you not thinking trans women are women, so that's why you don't like them, that's the bad part. That's the transphobia there. And we can't always figure out just by talking to someone sometimes, if that's there, that you'd have to go a lot deeper than that. And sometimes only they can reach that part of themselves as well. And that's something as well. But I mean, to say that this is straight up rape or tantamount to rape, I don't think that at all. Because you go in with preconceived notions. I don't believe every single preconceived notion that someone holds is now the fault of the other person who didn't have those notions in their head at all. I don't believe that. I don't know. Hey, what about like, cause a really big argument was that like, oh, they won't like it, right? There's a high likelihood that they won't like it. Okay. That they won't like it, but, so you should disclose it because you know they probably won't like it. So that's tantamount to rape if you don't. What if your room stinks or something like that? Anybody ever like had, or your room's dirty, right? Anybody ever like walk into someone's house for like a hookup or something and you go like, damn bitch, you live like this? Right? And you go, yeah, I don't know. Like you look at their like bed cover and you're like, you know, has that ever happened to you? That has never happened to me. Never had a single sex in my entire life, but that could happen to you as well. Honestly, I think for some people, like smelling bad or like your house or room looking bad can be really big up there for whether or not they want to have sex with you in the first place. But I also don't think that you have to take a panoramic picture of your room before you have sex with someone. I don't really think that. And if it would be nice if you would let them know if it's dirty. Okay. You should clean it for one and clean yourself as well. Lots of women, they've talked about how they like give some guys head, but they didn't clean their asshole and their asshole stinks. Do you think that you should send like a little like swab? You should like take a little like Q-tip and swab your like the inside of your cheeks and then put in like a little envelope and ship it to them so they can smell it before they come give you head? Like, I mean, come on now. What if room stinks pee small, and what if they have Blu-ray collection of Lord of the Rings extended edition? What if you get to their room? What if you like want to hook up with someone, you're kissing them, okay? And then you go back to their house and then their computer is still on, and what's on their computer is League of Legends. They have the League of Legends window opened up. I think that's far worse for me. All right? I think that's way closer to rape than if I brought someone home and they had like a penis or something. I think that's way closer. League of Legends is terror inspiring, honestly. Having League open is like as bad as worse than having CP. Oh no. Imagine if they like Smite. Hey, I like Smite. What the fuck? I got like I have like almost 2,000 hours in Smite. How dare you? How dare you? Okay. Listen, Smite players, they're nowhere near as bad as League players. I just had a brain moment. Oh, brain moment. Here we go. So I mislead and not disclosing necessary information is violation of consent and thus rape according to Destiny. Literally all blind dates are rape. I think he would say there that you consent to, it's the sort of like consensual non-consent sort of thing where you know it's a blind date, you know you don't know what's going to happen, so you consent to that originally. But like having a preconceived notion in your head about someone, like you make up something about someone that you think is there, and then you put it on to someone, and then if that doesn't come true, then now this is rape. I just really don't believe like the onus should be on them. If there's something so big that there's no possible way that you're going to have sex with someone, yeah, make up a guy, and then project that guy onto your date. And then if the guy is not the guy when you get back home, then you've been raped or something, I guess, along those lines. And then it's this weird area where he said it's like tantamount to rape. You're basically really raping them. But when people brought up like the trans panic defense, where you're like, oh yeah, so if you say that they're trying to literally sexually assault them, can't you use like physical force to stop them? I guess. Like if you see the vagina, can you just instantly just like unload a clip of lead into them? And he was like, well, there you could just say no, I guess. So before you couldn't say no, but now you can say no. Like after that, maybe instead of shooting them, you just pull out the gun and you say, get out. I don't know. I actually don't get it. I actually don't understand. Like before you could say no. You couldn't say no because that's coercion. But then you also can't use defense against yourself in that coercion to free yourself, to save yourself. So you could never say, so you can only say no until after. I don't know. It's just really weird to me. RJR is going on the Destiny arc. It's just going to be that way. Is it rape to use MySpace angles? I believe so. Like those, like that, like top down to the like emo angle. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Will Destiny consider not disclosing if you're circumcised or not as rape? Hey, listen, I don't know what like the breakdown. I'm not sure what the breakdown is of people would like liking and not liking uncut penises, but I don't know if it's like 60% of people would think like uncut penises are weird. Then I don't know. Maybe if you show them the sweatered snake, then they without explicitly saying that you have like a snake in a turtleneck, then I don't know. Maybe that's rape, and you've done the big rape. Instagram filters. Oh, definitely, yeah. Now, not all things may be the same, but saying tantamount, which literally means basically like or equivalent in severity to literal sexual assault. I think we can with a statement as dumb fuck hyperbolic as that, then I think we can have some leeway with this. Yeah. If he can, I can. Sorry. Would you agree that it's tantamount to indecent exposure? No. You having a preconceived notion in your head about what their genitals look like. You consented to those genitals being shown to you. If you dislike them, then you can disengage in sexual contact with that person. You don't have, that's not rape. and that's not indecent exposure either. That's just two consenting grown adults disengaging in sex. So it's like a totally fit guy, like a totally ripped and fit guy who only lasts a minute, guilty of rape. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, listen, what if a guy was like, "You want me over on this one?" Yeah, I'm like, just for a second. You consented to them. You consented to seeing them. If you dislike what you see, you are 100% within your ethical bounds to disengage with sex with them. No one ever mentioned that you couldn't do that. Now, some like weirdos would probably say that it's bad or whatever. But listen, let's be completely honest. You can. That's not rape. Okay. That's not. If you say that you're really, really good at sex, okay, and this person, they only want to be with like the best of the best. This girl, she takes the cream of the crop, okay, and you're a hot dude, all right, you're fit, you're ripped, you're a hot dude, okay, you got small pee and you last for like a minute or something, and we're not going to quantify what small is. Small can be whatever you want. Small can be 9 inches, small can be a 1/4 inch, okay, it doesn't matter what small is. I'm not going to put a number on small. Let's say it's small to her, all right, and you last like one pump chump, literally one pump. She touches it, you like come everywhere, and that's it. That person was not raped. I'm sorry. That person, that is not indecent exposure. That is not assault. That is not even rapey. That's just two consenting adults disengaging with sex. That's all that is. There was a federal bill in 2018 which supposed to get rid of the gay trans panic defense, but it died without moving to the floor for a vote. Here's one thing, all right? Here's another thing for some people who aren't necessarily won over. Let's say you're a dude, okay? Let's say you're a dude, right? And you are bi. Let's say you're bisexual, but you're like 90-10 sort of bisexual where you like women like overwhelming majority, but you've hooked up with some guys before in the past. Let's say you're like that dude, whoever this dude may be. Let's say you're like this dude, okay? But there are some women out there who don't want to date bi guys. I'm not sure on the exact numbers, but there's actually a really big portion of cis women who don't want to date bisexual guys. That's a real thing out there. That really is a real thing. Should you have to disclose that you're bi if you like have sex with her and then she follows you on Insta or something, and then there's a pic of you with like your new boyfriend like a month later? Can she be like, this, you've like raped? Can she like text you up and be like, dog, you like assaulted me? Absolutely not. About 2/3 from what I've heard. Yeah. So if you're going to use the defense, that, hey, listen, most people, they wouldn't be okay with that. They wouldn't be okay with that. And then you go, and then you say, okay, then I guess you'd have to disclose that you identify as like, let's say you identify as non-binary too. And then that falls under the category of trans. But like some like cis women don't want to date a trans person, period. Doesn't even matter if you're like non-binary, just like meant like guy passing, complete boy mode, okay? And you're bi. You put those two things together, all right? Well, like 70% of women don't want to have anything to do with you. I don't think you have to disclose that for not to be rapey. I absolutely don't believe that. So only 2/3 of girls know that they can't beat the competition. Dudes rock. Dudes really do rock. I love me, my dudes. Lying on Tinder about your height is rape. No, listen, okay. One last thing. Shark gay arc. Whoa, calm down. One last thing. I do think that it's perfectly fine for you to disengage with someone who you do not want to have sex with anymore. Consent can be revoked at any time, and honestly, for whatever reason, all right? There's no good reason to continue with sex with someone when they tell you no. Not a single good reason in the world, all right? Unless it's like consent, non-consent, where they say no, but you know they don't mean no, but they're holding like a little squeaky toy. You have like a little squeaky toy, okay? And you put it in their hands, and they squeeze it. And when they squeeze it, you know that actually means stop, no matter how much they like verbally say stop. Unless you have that already done, then that's not assault. Let's be honest for a second, okay? Let's chill out.